Videoing from my car again. It is a Monday morning. It is about 10 a.m. and I've just got to the studio. I have a sleeping baby in the back of the car, and it is a week since my last vlog, so I'm doing another week. Had a week off and back to filming again, and this is a sort of interesting week this week. I thought this is why I wanted to film this week, because I'm definitely now testing myself to more than I've tested myself before, because I'm at the studio today. Tomorrow I am taking Sasha with me. We're going to Oxford, which is about a 2-hour drive away, for the day to run a frame painting workshop for 20 American women who are all over on a needlepoint tour in the UK. And so that's definitely my biggest test so far of balancing Sasha and work. So I thought it would be an interesting thing to film and see how we get on. I do think with every new challenge, almost what you do is you kind of raise your baseline. And so with every fresh challenge, the kind of something that seemed challenging before no longer seems particularly challenging. So, so this is my baseline raiser. So I'm going to take you on the journey with me. Today I'm just in the studio. We're going to do catch-ups with the team. Although not as many people in today, people are off sick or on holiday. So and then mainly what we're going to do is pack up the car and make sure go through everything we need for the workshop and make sure we've got everything we need. So that is the main plan, and I'll take you along with me. See you later. It's midday, lunchtime, and I am just walking to go get my lunch. There's an amazing sushi place in Islington, and it's not often that I'm at the studio without Roger, and I can't go in there with the dog, and so I haven't had sushi from there basically since before I was pregnant. So that is where I'm going today. Happy Monday, go get the best sushi in London. Talking of last time in the video, I talked about kind of things that are not on the list, or breaking down kind of lists into more items. Actually, this morning, all I've ended up doing is spending the morning tidying our studio room. We have an office space which I share with Jen and Meg, which has just become like a dumping ground of things because we've been overflowing in the main area, and because it doesn't matter in a way if we're working in chaos in our area, it meant that we just had been dumping stuff we didn't know what to do with in there. So I've been sorting through all that, and in the process made Sasha a play area because she's getting more engaged and needs space to be able to play. So it's now 1 o'clock and I've not done anything else apart from tidy and make a play area. And so now let's see what I get on with Arthur. But I'll show you it when I get back home. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So put these in here. Hello, it's nearly 6 o'clock, and after a relatively steady start to the day, suddenly I feel like, where's the day gone? Where's the time gone? So I have messed up my logistics. One of the things that I've gotten good at with Sasha is sort of you plan backwards almost. You plan work backwards from anything you're going to. So if you know you've got to leave the house at 10, you know that you've basically got to start your first feed at 8:30, second feed at like 9:15, and then you know you're going to get out of the house. But actually, Sasha had been sleeping very happily in the carrier. I'd been working away and suddenly noticed it was 5:30. I usually try and leave the studio at 6, but basically that is not possible today because I have messed up my timings. And the last thing I want to do, that I've learned through experience, is get in the car with her if she's not properly ready, if she's not had a nappy change, if she's not fed as much as she max needs to. You want to get into the car with her when she is very happy, because it's a 40-minute drive home across central London. There is nowhere to stop. There's nowhere to pull over and quickly feed a baby or quickly change a baby. Obviously there is in case if something really bad is happening, an emergency. But in most scenarios, you just want to get home. So I'm basically a bit behind schedule, and that means won't get to leave here till about 6:30, which means I probably won't be home till about 7:30, which to be honest is quite late. It's quite like a long day to be out the house for, particularly in light of what's going on tomorrow with the workshop. What I mainly did today was spend the morning organising this office space. It had become really chaotic. The business is doing really well at the moment. The business is growing really well at the moment. I am very keen on us really using the space we have available to us, because it's all too easy when the business starts growing just to take on additional cost and just say, well, let's just get more space, let's do this. But then you never actually feel any of the benefit of the growth you're experiencing, because you just allow your cost base to go up with it. I am conscious that this space was meant to last us for quite a long time, so we don't want to take on extra space. So I've asked this team to really work out how can we use all the space in the main workshop area to the absolute best possible ability. In the process, what they've ended up doing then is clearing out a load of my rubbish, the stuff that I've been storing here since I moved out of my flat. And they had put all that stuff. I said, just put it in this room, because this room is only used as desk space for me, Jen and Meg. It doesn't really matter quite how functional it is as long as we have enough space at the desk. I'd said put it in here and I will go through it at some point. The issue is that point never really comes, because there's always something more pressing to do. But it has increasingly got more and more chaotic in here, to a point where today I just thought, I can't even work in this room. It's too chaotic. And also I needed to set up Sasha some kind of area where she could be, because she's not super happy anymore, just like sitting on my lap looking at stuff. She is really happy, but it's nice for her to have her own area where she can lie down in, where she can sort of like roll around in, and somewhere where I can keep an eye on her. But that is really efficient for the long run. That's exactly what I need to have set up in the long run to enable me to work in future. So it's like time well spent. Don't resent the time spent. But now I have just been trying to get everything organised for this workshop tomorrow, and I've hit a slight concern that there's no parking at the venue. And I hadn't really thought about exactly how I would get stuff into the venue, but it will work out. We'll work out how to do it, and even if it means in half an hour we're unloading everything, and one of the people who's running the workshop has to hold on to Sasha for me for half an hour or 15 minutes, even that. They're people I know, they're people I trust, but it's just that slight bit of, when you're juggling a lot of plates, little logistical things like where to park only really come up at the very last minute once I've loaded the car up. I have got loads of emails that I didn't respond to today, so it doesn't really matter that we're leaving a bit later, other than the fact it would be nice to get home earlier. It doesn't really matter, because I can respond to loads of emails. I've got a couple of things I've got to pack up, because we've got a customer coming in tomorrow and I have to kind of arrange some things that they're picking up. So I've got to go sort that out for them. One thing I did do though was when I went to go get sushi for lunch, I'd been banging on about the sushi for so long. And when I was in there, I was about to just get myself something for lunch. And then I felt bad, because I've been banging on about it so much to Harry, my husband. And he has also been working so hard at the moment. So I instead picked up loads of sushi, extra pieces to take home for us to both have for dinner tonight. And so the advantage is I may get home at 7:30, whatever, but I am bringing supper home with me. So there's no cooking and no washing up tonight when I get home. So that feels like a real treat. So that's kind of where we're at today. I'll try video tomorrow. At least what I will do is, at a minimum, I'll capture lots of bits of video throughout the day. And it might be that I update you on Wednesday. And I'll update you tomorrow. God, really boring update just to talk to you about parking, but that's what's on my mind right now. Where to park? I feel like that's what's on lots of people's mind a lot of the time if you're driving anywhere, is where am I parking? Yeah. Okay, see you on the other side. Fabric? Yeah. This is a game changer though, because I could say now, look, there she is. And honestly, she's so happy that it just gives me a moment to go and just get everything else packed and sort stuff out without having to carry her the whole time. So this is a game changer and was worth spending the time doing. Just got to finish this. Wrong way. It is 6:40 a.m. and this one, little one, and me, we're up. It's almost like she waved then. And she's just finished feeding. I've just finished feeding. And so we're about to, I need to go get her changed into her day clothes, don't I, Sash Bash? And then we're going to go get in the car and get on the road. At the moment it says it's about just under a 2-hour drive to get there. So we'll end up hoping to get into Oxford for 9. And that gives me an hour before the workshop begins. But I left you on a cliffhanger. What was I going to do about the parking? Don't worry. I spoke to the event organiser, Jeremy, and I can pull up outside. He will help me unload. And then there is a concierge at the hotel who'll go park my car for me. So just evidence. You get hung up on things that you don't need to worry about when actually all you need to do is just ask for help. Ask someone what to do. Anyway, so we're going to be on our way. I will film as I go along the day, and it's an adventure. It started off well because she went to bed at 10 o'clock last night and woke up at 6, and so we basically have had 8 hours sleep. So it started well by the fact I'm not doing this on 3 hours sleep like I did in some of my earliest weeks returning to work. I'm doing this on a full night's sleep, so how bad can it be?
I think I covered everything on this one. Rima, you have the best crabs.
Oh, Sasha. It's the boobs.
The only ones that go.
Sasha!
She had no.
Sasha's done for 10 minutes to allow Mummy to finish her book. They have arms and they trying to read my book. Much my girl. See, Matt? It is the morning after the day before, and this little superstar, hey, who's not so happy now, hey, look at that big bottom. This little superstar was amazing yesterday. She was so well behaved, but not that you can be well behaved, you're a baby. You don't know what behaved is. Yeah, noisy now. Yeah, we learned to talk. Anyway. You. Baby. Here you go. Okay. She was hungry. Babies are so immediate, aren't they? If they don't get what they want within about 5 seconds, all hell breaks loose. Imagine if we all behaved like that. Anyway, yesterday went really well. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of us for doing it. It definitely, in theory, sounded completely ridiculous to sort of take a 3.5-month baby on a 5-hour round trip to teach 20 American women how to paint frames. It felt a bit mad in theory, but then the moment you just get on with it, actually every individual part of that is very manageable. Like a day trip to Oxford is absolutely manageable. Running a workshop is absolutely manageable. And what made it absolutely brilliant was that Sasha was so happy. You could tell she was thriving. The moment we arrived, I put her in this bouncy chair whilst I set up the room, and she was just beaming, smiling, looking at all the lights, all the different people coming and going. And then the other thing is, Jeremy put on the workshop, he said in the morning, they were all kind of sat around having breakfast, and the women were going, God, I hope Eppie brings her baby. I really want to hold the baby. I really hope we get to see the baby. It's not like rocking up to some boardroom where everyone sees the baby as an imposition. I am very fortunate in my line of work that the baby coming is only additive for the people around me. And there was one of the women there, she has 2 grandchildren who are basically similar ages to Sasha. And she just wanted to hold Sasha as I painted her frame. And you know what? I don't mind that scenario. And very intentionally, I want Sasha to be really well socialised. I know it's different, people feel different ways about it. I'm so happy for Sasha to be held by other people, to spend time with other people. I want her to be exposed to lots of people, because I do think that's sort of the best way for her to kind of not get too anxious if I'm not around, to know that she's sort of loved and there's lots of nice smiling faces to look at that aren't mine. And so going to things like this is amazing, I think, for her development too. And it's an interesting timing, because last week I got myself in a bit of a spiral. And I think, social media is great and social media is also terrible. And it's pretty terrible around new motherhood, because suddenly my algorithm has changed on Instagram and I am confronted daily with 20 activities to do in your baby's weight window, exact milestones your baby should be hitting at 3 months, at 4 months. Kind of, if your baby's not doing this, you should be really worried. And suddenly last week, I just had this total panic of, am I doing enough for her? I'm back at work. I'm taking her along with me. And I'm assuming that's enough. But what happens if it's not enough? What happens if I need these sort of development toys? What do I need to be doing all these various different activities? What happens if I need to be going to these baby sign language classes? All this various stuff. And I got myself in a total sort of spiral of, am I failing Sasha in the way that I'm doing things? To a point where I basically mail ordered last minute loads of crazy sensory toys and things, all to arrive next day delivery. And I just splurged thinking I've got to get stuff for Sasha's development. And then I thought, rather than kind of getting too much up in my own head about everything, I messaged some of my friends who've all had children. One of my friends called me almost immediately, just saying, like, just do not worry at all. That everything I'm doing with Sasha is all developing Sasha. Yeah, she might not have as much tummy time as other babies, but she's spending all day in a carrier and stuff like that counts. And I don't want this to be like a motherhood thing. But what it just showed me is going to that workshop yesterday, looking at how she was interacting with the people around me. What I am giving her is brilliant. Like, the exposure she's getting, the stimulation she's getting, the period of time where she's able to sleep amongst, like, in high light, loads of noise, loads of stuff going on, and she still just sleeps really well. She sleeps really well at night, and she's a happy baby. So if she wasn't getting what she needed, I think she would let me know. But it kind of showed me how easy it is to compare yourself, to feel like I'm not doing this right because I'm not doing all these things. And there's no one way which is the right way to raise a child. There's no one way which is the right way to run a business, or to have a maternity period when you've got your own business. But the biggest thing I thought was, I've just got to get off social media. Like, that's the bit that's most unhealthy, because I was totally fine in what I was doing until I started going down that algorithm black hole. So I always used this app called Freedom, which would help me block windows on block time periods on my phone. I have no self-control, so I have something where you can't stop it. And through that, I always did have controls which start at kind of 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. and end at 8 a.m. So every night, social media, email, YouTube, all those things are all blocked on my phone. But I have that massive gaping chasm in the day between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I've brought in new blocks, which happen sort of for 3-hour chunks in the middle of the day. It goes on automatically. So the only way I can not have the block happen is if I remember just beforehand to turn it off. If I don't remember, it goes on. And what I kind of tend to find is that if something I really need to check, something like if I really needed to look at my email for some reason, I would look on my laptop anyway. If I'm working, I'm looking on my laptop. If I'm on my phone, generally looking at emails, it's because I'm out and about and I've got nothing better to do. And what I've done is I've got my Kindle back out again. So rather than aimless scrolling, I got this Kindle when Sasha was born, and I read a few books. And actually, since kind of last Friday, I've already read a book. So this morning, I'm having a day off. It's now about 11 a.m. And part of the reason it's 11 a.m. and I haven't got out or done anything yet is because I lay in bed with Sasha for 2 hours reading. So it's like all that stuff. Social media is addictive. We know sometimes the things that are good for us, the things that aren't good for us, but it's really hard to control, to remind yourself sometimes that this is why I'm not on here in the first place. Anyway, so I'm taking a day off today. Sasha is feeding now. And we're going to go, I'm just about to take her and Roger to the park. And then this afternoon, there's a big trade fair, like sort of, I don't know what you can call these things, like a fair that happens in London once a year called Spirit of Christmas, run by House and Garden. Lots of exhibitors are there. I've kind of thought vaguely in the past about whether we should exhibit there. You know, lots of people go there to do their Christmas shopping. We're a perfect Christmas gift product business, but I hate doing trade shows. I hate overcommitting to things. And it's that sort of thing where you'd commit to it and you'd come around for the time and you'd think, I'm not sure about this. And apparently it's quite an expensive one of all the fairs to do. I'm just not totally sure it's for us. But, sorry, long-winded way. One of my friends has a business. She's got some spare tickets. She's exhibiting there. So I'm going to go see her, go visit, go have a look around, I know a few other people who've got stands there. So I'm just going to go see what's going on. And it's a nice little day out for Sasha and I. And it's kind of fun because you get to go scout out competition, looking on the horizon, seeing if anyone's doing anything we should be worried about. So that's quite fun. So I'm going to do that today. And I'm not going to look at my computer at all today. I'm going to actually take this as a day off because I haven't been very good at doing that recently. I've been very kind of good at just doing a little bit of work every day, which I don't think is the right approach for me. I think I need boundaries. So I'm not going to look at my computer at all. And if I've got some time, I'll do a bit of drawing, bit of illustration, bit of sewing. I've got a bit of sewing I need to finish. So that's my plan. And I'm really proud of me, mainly proud of her. Very proud mum. Bye. Oh, can I just add, I also have got into this new habit. Let's see how long it lasts. But I know in my earlier videos I talked about I'm really bad at eating proper good food when I'm really busy. And so I have, for the last 4 or 5 days, started soaking my porridge oats the night before, soaking my oats with some chia seeds because I'm so food trendy. And I've just had the best breakfast ever this morning, where I had my porridge from the night before because I'd soaked it. You just have to just turn it on. It's sort of I didn't have to think about it. And at the weekend, we had lots of different friends come over for brunch on both days. I had loads of leftover. With a bag of frozen berries, I made a big berry coulis thing, just literally just cooked the berries from a bag. But I just had this morning my porridge with some berries and a little spoon of of a peanut butter, bit of honey, and I feel not only like a food influencer, but I feel really good. God, it's good having a good breakfast. So much better than just a banana and rushing out the house. So let's see how long that lasts. But I'm hoping that'll be my new winter thing. Will be my soaking oats the night before. That's it. I'm gonna go. Hello, it's Thursday. I had a haircut since I saw you. This is the first haircut I've had in about 9 months, and I feel like a new woman. Just a little tiny bit of self-care is amazing. Does wonders for the soul. Anyway, it's Thursday. I had a day off yesterday, and I have been working today, just doing various bits and bobs, bits of admin. And I thought I would tell you about one of the things I'm doing because I think it often goes undiscussed when you're running a small business. Also, if you're running a creative small business, there can be this kind of romanticization of what your day-to-day looks like. And one of the jobs that I have had on my to-do list for a very long time, but have been putting off, and my husband keeps telling me it's absolutely the one thing I should not be putting off, is my cash flow forecasts. I went through a phase where I was really good at keeping up to date with keeping my forecast going, but then I got into that really bad habit of business going really well, business growing, so things like tracking your forecast for your cash flow almost falls by the wayside a little bit. I do have a finance background. I was a trained accountant, and so as much as I could have an accountant do this for me, to some extent it's the kind of job that I like to do myself, because firstly, I quite enjoy it. I quite enjoy getting into the numbers and the nitty gritty. But secondly, I really want to know what I'm putting together is right, and particularly if it's sort of analysis based. Anyway, so what I have done is I have a spider diagram here of, this is basically my revenue projections assumptions. And I am now sat here with my laptop and absolutely, I'll show you. This is years and years of data. This is raw data exports that I basically need to go through, analyse, get into a appropriate order in order to be able to project out. And we're going to project out basically for the next 18 months. And very good business practice reason to do it, which is the whole idea of revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is king. And that's the saying that lots of people repeat over and over to you, which is just tracking your revenue is vanity. If you see your revenue grow, that's just vanity. If you track your profit, yeah, that's sanity. But the thing is, at the end of the day, profit doesn't convert to cash. Cash is king. So I need to basically update my forecasts. This sounds really sad, but it's kind of like quite a cozy activity. It's been raining a bit today. I can hear the rain. We've got a skylight now up at the top of our stairs, so I really hear the sound of the rain. And so I am that kind of nerd where I feel like, just a little day sat here, back on Excel, feel like I'm an investment banker again. I'm building a model, I've got an input sheet, I've got calculation sheets, things are colour-coded. Satisfies the soul for some psychotic, weird individuals like me. But I've been putting it off for so long and allowing months to go by just thinking, I'll get round to it. But the issue is we have some really ambitious plans for the next year, the year after that, things I really want to explore. And there is no point though saying that we're going to explore it if I actually don't check that we can afford to explore it. I should never just assume we can afford to explore it without having run the numbers first. So this is the sort of thing where you never see people doing this side of the business. We see all the sexy, creative cutouts, the bad drawings, which weird to describe that as sexy because cutting out paper for a lot of people isn't very sexy. But that is what I'm doing today. In all likelihood, I had to do various admin bits all morning. It's about 2:45, that's incredibly precise. It's actually 2:49. And I have only just got started on it. My parents are in town tonight, and so they're going to get here about 6 p.m. So I now have about a 3-hour window in which to bash out a financial model for the next 18 months of the business. Let's see how I go. That's what I'm working on today. One thing I will show you though is my very lovely husband knew this was a big week with the whole workshop and everything, and so got me these. Oh yeah, if you know, you know. The best biscuits in the world, which are currently being used as a prop for my phone, which is why I couldn't just go reach them and show you them. So I'm going to have a cup of tea now. I'm going to have a toffelossus, and I'm going to go deep into some Excel. Don't be too jealous. Hello, mummy. A bee. Diggy, 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 diggy. Hey, baby. It's Friday. I've just had my lunch, a very glamorous lunch of beans and cheese on toast whilst watching about 15 minutes of an episode of Selling Sunset. So, living the high life here. And I am still working away. Got my spreadsheets out, got my numbers out. It's kind of a real brain teaser sometimes trying to work out your projections because if you think all this stuff through really fully about how should we look at the business, when I talked about it and when I kind of came up with how I was going to model all the different assumptions, I planned to do it actually rather than focusing on kind of just we're going to grow our sales by X amount. It makes much more sense to think I'm going to try and grow our active customers by X%, and therefore then how does that feed everything? So all well and good in theory, that's a really sensible way to build out our projections because we can much more easily influence how actively we engage customers. We can influence that more than we can influence what customers happen to want to buy 1 month and next, or how overall customer spend, because we're not, sorry, Roger, do you mind? That was him scratching. Anyway, but all well and good in theory, but then the thing is, it's when you actually start going into trying to work out exactly how are you going to do that and what classes as an active customer, and is it if they've been active in the last 5 years? Has it been active in the last year? What do you count as like active customer spend? Like, is that how much they've spent in the last year? Is that how much people have spent overall? Easy to write a little spreadsheet, much harder to start working through it. But the key thing I'm kind of thinking is that it's about starting, and then I can refine once I've got to a position where I've kind of got a forecast I'm happy with. Now, I appreciate I've just gone like super heavy finance at the end of this diary, and I just want to say, I think there's a few reasons why I feel like it's important that I do this part. Firstly, it's a lot cheaper. You could get someone to help you model the business forward, but those people are pretty expensive, and I don't want to spend the money on that, and it's something I know I can do. The second thing is, as much as it sort of feels like it's not got a great purpose, modelling forward your numbers and working out the base, what your core drivers for the business, actually helps you plan. So if, say, I think actually the underlying thing I want to be able to grow in our business is active customers per month, then that comes down to really tangible things we can do, like our email flows, how we engage with the customer after they've bought from us the first time, how we engage with them for their second purchase, how do we engage with them for their fourth purchase, how do we make people, how do we nurture. It may start off as like a base, just 20% stuck in a forecast, but actually it comes down to your tangible marketing efforts are driven by the kind of the key performance indicators, the things we choose to measure. So as much as it can feel really slow, like this feels really slow working through this and trying logically to work it all out, but it will fundamentally drive what are we tracking a bit as a business and how do we know if we're doing the right job. So there are tangible outcomes in our day-to-day operations that are fed by the exercise I am doing now that will last us for a period of time. So that's the second reason. And the third reason for doing it, committing time to it, is not only does it drive our kind of strategy for how we market, how we're approaching the business, but also it makes me review all our costs within the business, because I have to go through, I have to model out the revenue, and then I've got to work out all our costs against it, and we have to review our goods per unit. We have to review, are the prices which I've been working on in my head still reasonable? What is our shipping now coming out at, particularly now in the US, we're getting charged tariffs and we're sending duties paid. There's loads of moving parts on a cost base that an exercise like this really brings to light. And so it's fun. It is kind of fun. Like, that sounds really lame, nerdy. If you've got the time, I enjoy it. But this is my background. This is what I did before. And I also have a husband who also worked in banking before, and he can talk with me through it. So if I get stuck being like, why on earth did I think I was going to model it like that? He can say to me, well, don't do it like that, do it like that. So effectively, between the two of us, I have my own little finance. We are our own little finance team that enables me to do this. But I know that is something where a lot of people don't have the kind of shared skill set, and you definitely don't have to do this part as complicated as I do for the business. I think I droned on a bit too long there, so I just decided to crop whatever I was saying there, because I droned on too long. Anyway, that's the end of Friday. That's what I'm spending the rest of the day doing, is just trying to work out these numbers, try to get myself to reasonable forecast and give the team budgets which we can then work towards rather than just finger in the air. Wouldn't it be good if we did better than last year? That's not good enough. That's the end of the week. I'm going to publish this as just a single week's video diary. Final thing I'd say is that as much as the week started really manically, it's ended really calmly. And in a way, going and doing that workshop in Oxford feels like a lifetime ago. So it shows just when I do have an intense period, how quickly I can then recover from that and reset to go again. Now, next week, I will not film because I'm going to Rome. We're going and taking a little holiday with Sasha, while Sasha is still so easy to travel with. So I'm in the studio a couple of days, but then we're going to Rome for a long weekend. I won't film anything, and I'll probably do another video diary, therefore, in maybe the week after that if we're lucky, or maybe it'll be a couple of weeks' time. Basically, when we've got more interesting stuff to talk about. But if I keep droning on about Excel, no one is ever going to watch these. So we'll end it there. I hope you all have a good week. Bye.